Numbers on the year, it's hard to find anything he isn't doing well. He's leading the league in batting, 361. He is first in base hits, 88 base hits on the year, fifth in RBIs with 46, and he's had 24 multi-hit games.
You know what really surprises me is that, he leads their club with home runs and he only has 10, and playing out of that ballpark, I had the opportunity to go in and spend quite a bit of time watching the players play there, and the ball really travels well. But I think one thing that's really affected him quite much, Jim, is
there's a fly ball to shallow right center field. Payton calls off Markakis. Matsui tags. He's going towards third, and Brian Roberts will hold the baseball. So moving up 90 feet is Matsui, but now two men down.
Well, what I was going to say was what I think has really had a lot of effect on the long ball there is the fact that they take their baseballs, and they have league permission to do so, and they put them in a humidor. And what it does is actually it softens the ball up so that it doesn't travel as far in the air as it used to.
Well, this Colorado Rockies team, and playing their home games in Coors Field, you expect bigger numbers as Todd Helton comes up, but they are 14th in the National League in hitting home runs. They have just 39 as a club, so only two teams in the league fewer home runs than Colorado. Todd Helton, one of the recognizable stars on this Colorado team. He's their veteran and a very good hitter. Runner at third, two down, no score. We're just underway, and there's a strike. Let's get a look at our Toyota League leaders. Todd Helton, an active career batting average. When you have a better batting average than Ichiro Suzuki after that display he just put on against the Orioles, you know you're a quality hitter.
Todd Helton has always been a good hitter, always had a very good swing. Not the kind of guy that's going to go up there and try to hit home runs all the time. He deals on hitting the ball up the middle. You make a mistake, he will make you pay, but he's just been a quality hitter every year he's been in the big leagues.
Now 33 years old, and Traxel misses low, 1-1. When Todd Helton was drafted in '95, he was one of those guys who had a choice. He played football in college as well. He was a quarterback at the University of Tennessee, but he was such a good hitter, he made the right choice. He chose baseball, and he's now in his 11th season.
You think he made the right choice?
I think
I know he made the right choice.
Coming off a career low in home runs a year ago when he hit only 15, but he's had a very good career for the Rockies. Ball and a strike on him. Another foul, so Traxel gets ahead 1-2, and Traxel very good command in the first inning.
And it doesn't surprise me with the 15 home runs, Jim. This is that post-humidor era for them, and it really has had an effect on the home run ball, the long ball, and so that's a benefit to the pitchers there, and probably why more guys are pitching with lower ERAs.
So they put the baseballs in the humidor to make it fairer for the pitchers.
Exactly, and they don't just do it on their own. The league had to suggest and also approve the fact that they were going to do that. So now they built the humidor. Probably somebody threw a few cigars in there at the same time, but they have this humidor in there where they keep their cigars and their baseballs.
Todd Helton has a couple of 200-hit seasons in his career. He already has 6 home runs on the season. Matsui is at third with 2 down. Traxel trying to get out of it here in the top of the first. And he pops him up foul. Mora coming over is going to run out of room. That's going to be back in the crowd and out of play. Well, the Orioles team ERA is now 4th in the American League, and the starters have done just an outstanding job. The bullpen got roughed up a bit on the road trip, in particular over the final 4 games of that road trip, but overall the team's pitching has been very, very credible and been fairly consistent.
It really has. When you look at it overall, the starting staff has done a very consistent job all season long. The bullpen was outstanding early, and as of late they've been a little bit shaky. A lot of problems with Danny Baez has had his problems. We all know that. And a couple other guys, too, have kind of picked their spots.
Strike 3 called. He painted the outside corner. Traxel gets out of it. A runner left. Here come the Birds in the bottom of the first. Orioles tonight. Brian Roberts back in the lineup after getting most of Wednesday off. He did play defense for an inning. Jay Payton batting second. Payton had 3 hits, including a couple of doubles Wednesday at Seattle. Markakis third, Tejada cleanup. Kevin Millar back in there 5th. Aubrey Huff DHing. Melvin Mora, Jay Gibbons, and Paul Paco rounding it out for the Birds.
And our Rico scouting report, left-hander Jeff Francis, a crafty guy out there on the mound. Average fastball, 86 to 89. Change of speed artist. This is what has really helped him to have a good season so far. What we're looking at here is a left-handed Steve Traxel.
So here's Brian Roberts up there from the right side. And Jeff Francis deals, and it's low. Jeff Francis will just pound that outside corner. He should be pitching for Leo Mazzoni.
Well, he's just one of those kind of guys who really just doesn't really try to blow the ball by you. He uses his off-speed pitches, especially late in the count.
Well, Brian hits it to center field, and Ryan Spilborghs runs it down. He's going to look at the defense behind Jeff Francis tonight.
Well, you've got Holiday, Spilberg, and Hott out in the outfield. On the infield, Todd Helton, who's been there forever, Matsui, Tulowitzki, and the catcher, Torey Alba, and Francis on the mound.
Well, one away, and here's Jay Payton, who was in that number 2 spot. You know, we're going to have our own version of that game, Where's Waldo? Yeah. Every night you come to the lineup and you go, where's Jay batting tonight?
I know.
Batted leadoff Wednesday. He's batting second today.
I'm really surprised when we saw this the scouting report on him for hitting in the second slot that his batting average 171 in that position. He really doesn't have that many at-bats, so it's really not justified at this point in the season. But then again, as a leadoff hitter, 9 at-bats, he's got 6 hits in that position.
There's the king of swing, Terry Crowley. And it's low ball 3. Before the game, during batting practice, Francis was a topic of conversation because you see the National League team so infrequently. Of course, Terry Crowley has the scouting report, but they were looking for information from anyone who has actually seen him pitch in person. And there's a 1-out walk, and a very good job by Payton to be patient.
You know, a good thing that the Orioles do now, Jimmy, they make sure that everybody gets a peek at him. And one great thing now, there's 4 or 5 televisions in that Major League locker room, and they get a chance to see him. When they get to the ballpark, they sit down and they start the film there, and they just get to wander through the clubhouse and see this guy pitch his last game against every National League team that he's pitched against.
You know, it's kind of funny, just standing by the cage as Markakis comes up, but Jay Payton asked me, what does this guy throw? Oh, I feel important. I'm getting asked by the outfielder what this guy throws. Well, I haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know.
All you have to say is finesse. He's a finesse pitcher, and you automatically know what you're going to get with a man on first base. You're going to get a changeup as a right-hand hitter. And they get 2 strikes on you. They're looking for the ground ball, and most of them will throw you the changeup to get a ground ball and a curveball to strike you out.
Nick Markakis fouls it off the mask. There's Trevor Millar getting ready to get on deck. And there's a strike again on the outside corner. It's 0-2. Sam Perlazzo told Jay Payton and Terry Crowley that the report that he read said, look outside. This guy lives on the outside corner with his fastball. And Markakis, as fans know, is a very good opposite field hitter.
He's a pitcher after Leo Mazzoni's heart, because that's exactly what Leo preaches all the time. You know, be able to command the strike zone down and away, down and away. And I agree with him. You still have to use the inside corner quite often to keep people from looking down and away, because if you never use the inside half, they will eventually adjust to you.
1-2 on Markakis. There's a base hit the other way. Good job by Markakis, just going with it. That'll send Payton to second. And Markakis on at first, and his bat continues to heat up.
I really like the way Markakis approaches a lot of his at-bats now. He doesn't have the highest batting average with men in scoring position yet. He's still feeling his way around the American League, adjusting to a lot of things, but he has been so good the first half of the season here at going the opposite way when he has to.
Well, and as you just saw, he will hit it where it's pitched because he has hits all over the ballpark. He's not a guy that you can predict will try to pull a ball, and the guys who are not predictable are tougher to get out.
I think what's really helped him be such a good clutch hitter so far this year, and I think so far I'd have to give him the #1 clutch hitter on the ball club this year, is the fact that he has used left field as much as he has.
Well, Miguel Tejada takes outside, 1-0. Nick Markakis, one of the fine young hitters in the major leagues. See Miguel working on a 6-game hitting streak.
Miggy's really turned the dial up lately. I think, he got in there and started working with Terry Crowley on turning on the ball again, and as many years as Tejada has played in the big leagues already, he realizes that every now and then you have to tune it back up again using your power. And it doesn't happen very often, but they're pitching him in so much that he has to start turning on some balls and make the league make an adjustment on him.
See, his power numbers are higher against righties because the Orioles see so many more right-handed pitchers, and Tejada got into that one. Shallow center field, the shortstop Tulowitzki backing up, and he makes the grab. The infield fly rule was called, so 2 men down as Tejada is retired. So a good pitch there by Jeff Francis, and 2 men down.
One of the things I should have put on the scouting report with Francis versus Traxel is that he's just a little bit younger than Traxel. I take a look at him in that picture. This kid looks like he's about 15 years old. I don't know. I'd have to card him to see if we can get him into the ballpark.
Well, he wears his age on his back. He is 26 years old. Slender, 6'5", goes 200. He's out of Delta, British Columbia in Canada. And Millar takes a strike. Let's get a look at our Toyota League leaders. Kevin Millar, the highest career batting average against the Rockies. Look at that, 403 for Millar. Miguel Cabrera 392, and Jason Bay of the Pirates 391. Very impressive numbers for Millar. Looking for a 2-out hit. And a good eye takes low, 1-1.
And you talk about 2-out hits, Jimmy. The Orioles have absolutely just lit it up lately since they went into Kansas City. I think every run they scored was a 2-out run. They've really done very good at hitting with 2 outs and men in scoring position.
Francis taking his time on this hot Friday night. And Millar takes low, gets away from Torrealba, and Payton hustles to third base. Payton with the play in front of him saw that ball bounce away from Yorvit Torrealba, and he took off. Markakis, he didn't see the ball initially go off the glove, so he played it safe and stayed at first base. Of course, we remember what happened on the road trip with the botched double steal, and he played it safe.
You see this more and more, and it's alarming to me in baseball. I mean, Jay Payton get a good jump right there, but a lot of young catchers now, and I don't know if they're when and where they're learning this, is they're starting to backhand the ball to their left a lot. And you saw the other night too, Hernandez missed a big ball with a man in scoring position that way, and it's really a bad habit to get into.
Millar fouls it off, 2-2. The scoring on that play, Jim Henneman says pass ball. He should have had it, so the pass ball allows Payton to get to third base.
I agree with that. Really, I think more catchers have to start concentrating on getting down and blocking the ball. They just, a couple of guys, veteran guys have really gotten, let's just call it lazy. They've just gotten lazy. They don't want to go down and block the ball, so they use their hands, and they're successful a lot. Molina was the guy with the California Angels that has done that quite often and pretty good at it, but it takes away a very important part of the ball game. Now, no pitcher likes to be throwing with a man on third base for fear that if he gets a 2-out curveball in the dirt, that their catcher's going to miss it and there's going to be an easy run scored. So this trend in baseball is not good.
Well, Francis has thrown only 1 wild pitch on the year, but that's a good point, because now if a ball gets away from the catcher, a run scores. 2-2 on Millar, runners on the corners, 2 down. Loop to center field, coming in on the ball is Spilborg, still coming, it falls in for a base hit. Payton will score, Markakis to third, right off the end of the bat, and Spilborg's playing his first game at Camden Yards, maybe fell for the full swing, and the Orioles get another big 2-out base hit.
They call that the Bermuda Triangle, Jimmy. We learn these things when we're over in the studio watching the games. You got to know those things. When 3 players converge on a pop-up like that and nobody catches it, falls in the Bermuda Triangle, and you see it right there. Jay Payton just cruises home now, no problem. I like scoring runs like that.
A 2-out RBI hit for Millar, who has done a very good job for the Birds on the year. His 21st ribby. And here is Aubrey Huff, same position, runners on the corners, 2 down. And Francis gets ahead, 0-1. Promising sign from the road trip was Aubrey Huff's bat beginning to come around. You see his numbers in his last 3 games, 6 for 13, but 4 of those 6 hits doubles.
I watch him every night. We sit there and we watch him, and we try to see how the other teams are pitching. Aubrey Huff in tough situations, and most of the American League, when they get ahead of him, they throw him a lot of breaking balls now because he's not making good contact on it. You throw him something straight, like a fastball or a straight changeup, and he's lining the ball good up the middle, but he's going to have to make that adjustment to hit the breaking ball better. Otherwise, he's going to struggle with his average all year.
Jay Payton talking it over on the bench after scoring the Oriole run. Too tight, and Huff just bends out of the way. Aubrey Huff picked up that pitch right away and able to duck out of the way.
Yeah, that's one of those get you off the plate kind of pitches that you know, sends a little message. Don't lean over too much, and then he's going to probably just go right back down and away again and try to hit that outside corner.
Good hitters count here. 2-1. Runners on the corners. 2 down. And a good eye. Ball 3. I'll tell you what, Rick, the Orioles' approach here to Jeff Francis, a pitcher they haven't seen a lot in person, has been to be patient.
Well, they have to. You know, a finesse pitcher, you have to look at a finesse pitcher a couple. You just can't go up there and pick one pitch because you're pretty much guaranteed if he's not a power pitcher, you're going to get a lot of different looks at him on the first pitch.
Kevin Millar will be honored that Jeff Francis threw to first base.
A good point there, Jeff.
Jeff does not know that Kevin doesn't have an attempt this year, let alone a steal. 3-1 on Huff. Line drive and a base hit in the right field. Markakis will score. Millar makes the turn. He goes to third. And the Orioles are playing on the corners and have a quick 2-0 lead.
You know, like we were just talking about, the Orioles have really picked up the pace, hitting with 2 outs and men in scoring position. And Kevin Millar has been one of the best at so far this year. As you can see now, Aubrey Huff is starting to get part of the action here. He gets that straight fastball on the outside corner. He pulls it down into the corner. So let me just retract that. Might not have been that good fastball. Might have been more like the BP fastball that Mike Flanagan used to throw.
Aubrey Huff is now hitting 4 straight games. He picks up his 27th RBI. And here's Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach for Colorado, out for a first inning visit. The Rockies are 15th in team pitching in the National League. Just ahead of Cincinnati. It's just percentage points ahead. Each team, the Rockies and the Reds, have a 4.70 ERA rounded off. But part of that is because of Coors Field. Maybe the home runs are down, but that is still a very good hitter's ballpark because of how deep the outfield fences are. There are a lot of doubles hitting that ballpark.
And it doesn't matter what kind of base hit to the outfield. Every coach sends every player to home plate there. It just doesn't matter because the outfield has to play so far back that there's no way they can throw out very many guys.
And Melvin Mora takes a strike. Melvin, the 7th Oriole to bat in the bottom of the first. 2 in, 2 on, 2 out. See the runners on the corners. Millar now at third. Aubrey Huff at first.
These kind of RBIs that the ball club now, they are crushing RBIs with 2 outs. You just can't imagine what that does to a ball club when they're 1 out away and they end up giving up 2-3 base hits and 2-3 runs at that point. It just kills the club. It kills the manager and everybody else.
Ball and a strike on Melvin Mora, who's hitting 5 straight games. Oh, good change up there, 1-2. Rick, here's a look at the highest ERAs in the National League. What we're talking about, Cincinnati and Colorado, just percentage points difference. The Phillies at 4.64. They play in a hitter's ballpark. The Nationals at 4.61. They have a lot of young pitching on the Nationals team, and a surprise, the Cardinals at 4.60. But they've had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, you know, really, that's really the only weak area that Colorado has because they're very good in defense. They, like the Orioles, are leading the National League in defense. Their hitting is very good. I think they're 2nd or 3rd in the National League in their hitting. And the only problems that they're really having is with their pitching staff. So they're really not that far away from being a good ball club.
And this is not what Clint Hurdle wanted to see. His young pitcher on the mound in this very hot weather, about to throw his 30th pitch of the first inning. Ball and 2 strikes on Mora. And he got it. Foul tip held by the catcher Torrealba, and Francis gets out of it. But the Birds get 2. We head to the 2nd and a 2-0 Orioles lead. Fans, don't forget tomorrow night the Orioles and Rockies continue the interleague series. First pitch 7:05 of the first 10,000 fans 14 and under receive a special pack of Cal Ripken collectible baseball cards presented by Upper Deck. So don't miss your chance to get these commemorative keepsakes highlighting the Iron Man's Hall of Fame career. For tickets, 888-848-BIRD, or if you prefer, you're at home, you're on your computer, just go online, Orioles.com. You can print them right there at home. How convenient is that? And then when you come here to the game, you look up to the booth and go, "Hey, Demper, how are you?"
Yeah.
Demper's at the ball game tonight. There's Garrett Atkins against Traxel, and now it's a 2-0 lead, and there's a strike.
We don't always get this luxury, Jimmy. It's so nice to be here. The smell of the grass and the look of this ballpark in the evening time. I don't think there's any more beautiful ballpark in all of Major League Baseball than Camden Yards right here in Baltimore.
And Traxel pitching with a purpose here early on. It's quickly 0-2 on Garrett Atkins. Traxel making his 13th start. Mentioned coming off the loss last Saturday in Anaheim. Prior to that, he had won 3 in a row. Fastball high and away.
I think this is a pretty good matchup tonight. Traxel with Baco. I like this combination of these two guys right here. Baco is a guy who depends on the off-speed pitch, calls a few more than Hernandez. I think that's good for Traxel.
Markakis in right field, so one away as Atkins hits the fly ball. And before the game, the Orioles made the announcement. This was literally done right before the game. Ramon Hernandez goes on the disabled list with the groin injury, and Alberto Castillo is back from AAA, his second stint.
I didn't get an opportunity to talk to Ramon. I saw him when he got out of his car in the parking lot and he walked away. He didn't look like he was all that uncomfortable. But I can tell you from experience, when you have a bruised groin, it has to be very bad in order for them to put you on a 15-day disabled list.
Brad Hopp, first ball swinging. Peyton takes charge, and 2 quick outs on a couple of fly balls. So Steve Traxel has retired 4 in a row, 2 men down. So Alberto Castillo is back with the club. Did a very good job when he was here the first time. Now, what are you going to do? Because this kind of upsets the balance of your stuntmen on the team, because Paul Baco is a stuntman, except now he's going to be in there pretty much day in and day out. So does he get promoted off of the stuntman squad, or are you going to keep him on there as an honorary
He's
stuntman?
a stuntman with an opportunity. That's what he is, a stuntman with an opportunity. But Paul did a great job playing every day. The Orioles were winning at that time too. And so he gets a lot of kudos for how he handled the pitching staff back in here. Hey, there's the stuntmen. Aren't they beautiful? Look at them right there. Chris Gomez, what an outstanding job he does for the Orioles off the bench. He's got to be the best stuntman in all of baseball.
And Freddie Bynum,
and Freddie Bynum, I love this guy.
The captain of the stuntmen. Chris Gomez is the veteran of the stuntmen.
No, I won't call Freddie Bynum the captain of the stuntmen. He may be the grand poobah.
Oh, all right.
But he's not the captain.
Breaking ball for a strike, 2-2. And
Jay Gibbons,
for the fans who don't know, you took that from your playing days when you were a backup, and there was a time in your career when you were a backup.
Half of it.
They called the backups on the Dodgers the stuntmen, and you just elected to take it with you. Kind of what do they call that? Editorial license.
Yes, you can do that. I was allowed. We had such a great backup bunch with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1988. We won the World Series with the Dodgers that year, and just a ball club that really had to pull together to make anything happen.
Shallow center, there's Peyton, and a very quick 3-up, 3-down inning on 3 fly balls. Traxel in command early, and the Birds have a 2-0 lead. Fans, stop in any participating Giant food store and enter to win the Orioles Summer Picnic featuring SK, Elios, Haagen-Dazs, and Reynolds. The grand prize winner will take home a play set from Play and Learn, and no purchase is necessary. A nice crowd here on a Friday night. It is student night, so always a lot of electricity and atmosphere in the ballpark. And here come the Birds in the bottom of the second with a 2-0 lead. RBI hits by Kevin Millar and Aubrey Huff. In the first inning, here's Jay Gibbons getting back-to-back starts, and there's a strike.
You know, Jimmy, I don't know that we can really put Jay Gibbons in the group with the stuntman. I mean, I don't want to say that, with any vindictiveness in it at all, for lack of a better word. But Jay Gibbons is a regular, you see, and he's a guy that's played every day most all his time. He's gone through a tough little stretch now. He's not swinging the bat like Jay Gibbons normally swings the bat. So I'm just going to call him an imposter for now. We wanted to throw him in with a stuntman because it's a great group to be associated with.
How about an honorary stuntman?
He could be an honorary stunt guy, but it won't take too many hits for him to just blow us off altogether.
Well, Francis gets a 3-pitch strikeout. Second on the day. And Gibbons retired, and that'll bring up Paul Bacco. Here's a look at the strikeout pitch.
You know, normally Jay swings the bat very well. I mean, you got to absolutely protect the plate right there on a pitch that gets going to fastball from a left-hander that you know is going to get a lot of the plate. And he is going through his struggles right now. I wouldn't want to be him. I know how it feels.
Paul Bacco takes a breaking ball down and away. The Orioles' #9 batter. He'll be getting a lot of playing time now with Ramon Hernandez on the disabled list. Off the end of the bat to center field. There's Ryan Spilborghs, and he makes the grab and 2 quick outs. Jeff Francis out of Delta, British Columbia. His nickname is Boomer, and it has nothing to do with baseball. Of course, he's Canadian. They love hockey in Canada. And his parents gave him the nickname after the Hockey Hall of Famer Boom Boom Geoffrion. So he has a nickname named after a hockey legend. It has nothing to do with baseball.
Where do you get that information?
I have scouts. You know, baseball scouts.
In Canada?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Okay. You need them. Ryan Roberts takes a strike.
You
know, when I was a kid, I think it was 4th grade.
Yeah.
Boom Boom Geoffrion spoke at a sports night at my church. And I thought that was pretty cool that a guy who was a real NHL player came and spoke to us.
I didn't even know what hockey was until I got hit by a puck in the ground. I didn't even know what hockey was.
1-2 on Brian Roberts. 2 outs, none on. Brian flied out leading off in the bottom of the 1st inning. He had an outstanding road trip and got Wednesday off except for 9th inning on defense.
You know, a couple of weeks ago we were talking, or you were talking specifically about how people can write in and vote for Brian Roberts to make the All-Star team. And all of that is great because all you do, get on your computer and you can do a lot of stuff. You can explain that later on. But, you know, I'm looking at Brian Roberts the way he's playing as a guy who could be an MVP of the league.
Well, 3 up, 3 down inning last, or 2 strikeouts in the inning. We'll head to the 3rd. The Orioles with a 2-0 lead.
I'm loving it.
At participating McDonald's. You can tell we've done that before.
Just a little bit.
Usually after
I'm still waiting for McDonald's to send us one of those little gift cards and everything where we have free McDonald's the rest of our life.
The coffee tastes better after a win. I know that.
I'm loving it.
Here's Ryan Spilborghs playing in center field tonight, and he takes a strike. Spilborghs 27 years old. He was drafted out of Cal Santa Barbara in 2002. Bounce towards 3rd. Melvin Moore bobbles the ball, but he was playing close and easily gets it across and gets his man 1 away. 6 in a row retired by Traxel.
You know, not to change the baseball subject, Jimmy, I just wanted to tell you how nice it was playing in that golf tournament you invited me to the other day. What a golf course.
For Kristen's
Francis
Friends
Scott Key,
Foundation for Cancer Research in Children, and thank you for coming.
Oh, it was so much fun playing in that. I really put my game back together playing in that golf tournament.
Todd and Julie Ruprecht ran the tournament. Todd from Coons Volvo and Owings Mills, and Volvo a proud sponsor of the Orioles on Masson and on the Orioles radio network. But it was a wonderful day for a great cause, and the folks were very generous. And anytime you can help a child who's ill,
absolutely,
you certainly want to give as much as you can. And I appreciate you coming out on a day off to help out.
Anytime.
There's a strike, 1-1. And by the way, I know you had to leave a couple of holes early because you had to be at the draft. Your team almost won.
I know.
You were 13 under par, 16
with
under
3 holes to go.
3 holes to go. But apparently the team that won had a bunch of mulligans. There's a chopper to 3rd. Melvin will wait on the hop, and he'll get Torrealba, and 2 bouncers to 3rd and 2 quick outs.
You really should call that tournament the Cheaters Open.
I didn't cheat. That's why I came in at 1 under par.
Cheating is welcome in that tournament. I like it.
Now see that guy keeping score there. I can't do that with the backwards Ks.
Oh yeah.
I can't write it that way on my scorecard. I don't know why. I can't write backwards. But that a backwards K, of course, means called out on strikes, not swinging.
That really surprises me because backwards isn't a term that is out of your vocabulary.
Oh boy, here's Willie Taveras. 2 outs and none on. And he bunts. It's a good one, and Melvin Moore is going to let it roll foul. We told you about Willie Taveras. 17 bunt hits already, most in the major leagues. And 24 of his 55 hits have been infield hits.
You know, it's good. We've talked a lot about bunters. Melvin Moore is outstanding. Corey Patterson. You know, when they make good bunts, nobody throws them out. And this young man right here, Taveras, is outstanding at bunting the ball, but I still have yet to see anyone as good as Brett Butler. This guy could bunt with the infield in at the pitcher's distance. He could still bunt for a base hit. He was that good.
Willie Taveras over the past 2 years has more infield hits than any major leaguer. Traxel misses low. 115 infield hits the past 2 years for the Astros. You know you're very adept at a skill when the opposition knows your tendencies and you're still successful at it. Bunts again. Mora coming in, and he won't get him. There's another bunt base hit. That's his 18th.
You know what's so amazing about it, because, you know, Ichiro's an outstanding bunter. When he wants a bunt, he can do it too, but he's left-handed. This kid is right-handed, and he just, look how soft that ball comes off the bat and so perfectly placed. And even Melvin was in, and he can't make the play. I mean, that's as good as a third baseman can get to the ball and throw it, and he had no chance of throwing this guy out.
Well, Taveras on at first with 2 down. He was picked up in the offseason in what has proven to be a very good trade for Colorado. There's Kaz Matsui. Matsui doubled his first at bat, was stranded at first, in the first inning rather. Fastball's high, 1-0.
Jimmy, I should probably know this, but is this Matsui any relation to the Matsui with the New York Yankees?
No. Although they did play New York at the same time.
That's amazing. They look like they could be brothers. They really do. The style, the way they even stand up there in the batter's box, it's very much the same.
Kaz is now 31. He's in his 4th major league season after playing 9 years in Japan. Taveras is a stolen base threat. He has 13, and that was one of the reasons why the Rockies wanted to get him. Last year, 10 stolen bases led the Rockies for the season. You see at 34 a couple of years ago, 33 last year with the Astros.
It's really good to see too, because you know the big leagues now are starting to get a lot of very, very good Asian players in the United States now, and they come over. I'm so impressed with a lot of the pitchers that we're getting now are so poised and so well trained. They come here, and it's really a lot of fun to watch them play.
Traxel paying close attention to Willie Taveras at first with 2 men out. Another throw over there. Taveras does not have a very good percentage in his steals. He's been caught 8 times, but he does have 13, which is the most on the Rockies club. They have 34 as a team.
And I would have to think this is a running situation for the next 2 or 3 pitches. They've got to be careful.
He bluffs going. Baco throws behind him, and it just does get back in.
And you can really see a difference when a lot of young guys come in here. When you watch Brian Roberts and Patterson, the way they get their leads and the way they get their jumps, you can see why this guy's got outstanding speed. He's right there in the same class with those 2 guys. But you really don't see that first step, that quickness, and that would probably account for the fact that he's been thrown out 8 times already, which really shouldn't happen with a guy that's his speed.
2-0 the count on Matsui. This is the guy that Traxel wants to get, because the guy on deck is the best hitter on the club, Matt Holliday. He not only is hitting for average, leading the league in average, but he has home run clout.
Another reason is that you would rather have Holiday leading off an inning than hitting with one man on base.
Tavares runs, taken outside, throw to second. He is safe. Safe the call at second base. A bang bang play, and he got the foot in. That was a pretty good throw by Baco.
Well, I have to see this play again, because Baco makes an outstanding play. He gets a decent jump. Baco gets a good release right here and a good throw right on the inside of the bag. Tejada, watch Tejada right here. He catches the ball too far out in front and misses the tag. Now, good shortstop. Mark Belanger would have said to Miggy right there, keep your glove over the bag, let the ball come to you. He's automatically out.
And Tony Randazzo there, a very good job of not anticipating the play. You saw Tejada miss the tag, and the foot did get in. Then the tag came down on the ankle. That's a very good job by Randazzo, not anticipating. As you'll see, the tag comes down after the foot hits the bag.
It really does. See where he catches that ball out in front and then just tries to put the glove straight down. He allows that hitter to get by him on the back outside part of the bag.
3-1 on Matsui. And there's a strike. 3-2. So Traxel bears down after falling behind 3-0.
I'm going to my dictionary too, because I want to find out if that's a word you just can't. Anticipating? Is that what you came up with there? Anticipating. Well, I like that word, though. I like that word. Don't worry. I know we both went to Catholic schools.
That would have been forgotten had you not just told the.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I like that. It's a new word we can use in baseball now.
I gotta teach you about live television, buddy. Here's the 3-2, and he got him. What a job by Traxel. He anticipated the strikeout, and he got him.
Anticipated.
Hi, kids. Bottom of the third. Orioles coming up with a 2-0 lead. Traxel, very good job getting out of the top of the third, not allowing Colorado to score. Birds got 2 in the first on Millar and Huff RBI singles. Friday night baseball here at Camden Yards. Orioles, after a much-needed day off yesterday after a long trip back from Seattle, back at it tonight to begin a 9-game homestand. And here's Jay Payton leading off against Jeff Francis.
Another crushing 2-out RBI display by the Orioles, who seem to be picking up very well with 2 outs and RBIs out there. They're doing a great job at it now.
Popped up back near the Oriole dugout, and that'll be out of play. And Jay Payton, ball's behind 0-2. Torrealba giving chase. There's new ballpark for the Rockies. Torrealba going back just in case that ball spun back to him.
It isn't as much fun catching pop-ups in this stadium as it was in Old Memorial Stadium. We had a nice low fence. You could get over there near the fans right there and actually step over it, make the catch, and get credited for the out.
0-2 is ripped to right field. Going back on the ball is Hop. He'll have a play. And he makes the catch and 1 away. Right now, let's join Amber.
Well, the Orioles have a lot of great giveaways this season, but my personal favorite, Cal Ripken bobblehead day. He goes into the Hall of Fame July 29th, and to celebrate the countdown, the Orioles are giving away Cal Ripken bobbleheads on Sunday, July 10th. The first 25,000 fans, 15 and over, will receive this Cal Ripken bobblehead, and it's to depict his June 10th to be correct. This coming Sunday is when they're giving it away, and it's to depict his World Series final catch in the 1983 World Series. I'm just lucky I get to take mine home earlier than everybody else. Back up to you guys.
All right, Amber, thank you very much. And Rick Dempsey wants to know why he doesn't have a 1983 World Series bobblehead, because Rick was the MVP. There's a bouncer to second base.
I have one.
Do you? The talking bobblehead?
The talking and singing and everything else.
I know. I have that at home.
And hearing, viewing.
I'm trying to give you a little plug here. See, you gotta learn to run with this stuff.
Okay.
There's the Cal bobblehead. He caught the line drive. Scotty McGregor threw the pitch. Scotty is featured this week on Orioles O's Access, the magazine show, hosted by Amber.
What a great World Series he had. He pitched 2 ball games, got a 1-1 record, but actually should have won both those games. Lost the first one 2-1. That hurt. Put us in a tough spot, but the O's came back and win 4 in a row.
Tejada takes ball 1. He popped up the short his first at bat. And it's 1-1. Francis had been pitching very well coming into this start. He won his last start against Cincinnati last Saturday night, went 7 innings, allowed only 1 run, and he hasn't lost a game since May the 2nd. He's gone over a month. Look at his numbers over the last 6 starts. And it's low good eye by Miguel.
Well, he started off the season a little bit slow with a losing record, and then all of a sudden lately he has really put it together well. As soon as it warmed up a little bit, he really started to pitch a lot better.
An off-speed pitch there, and Tejada swung through it. Jeff Francis has 35 wins as a Colorado Rocky, and they're the numbers Rick was talking about. He has come on his last 6 starts after beginning the year 1-4. And Tejada swings through it, and 3 up, 3 down to the Orioles for a second consecutive inning. We'll head to the 4th at Camden Yards. Birds with a 2-0 lead. Welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Joe Jordan joining us here in the booth, the Orioles scouting director, who has had maybe 4 hours of sleep over the last month. But congratulations on a very successful amateur draft. And how nice is it that when you go into a draft to come away with the guy you wanted all along?
It's a great feeling. It really is. Yeah, this is my 3rd time here in Baltimore, and wow, I'm glad it's over.
So you get the switch hitting catcher, and there he is, Matt Wieters out of Georgia Tech. Tell us about your reports, and I'm sure you had to go see him if he ended up being the first pick.
No, I saw Matt probably 5 or 6 games this spring. You know, he was the guy we were on all along.
Holiday to right field, and Markakis makes the grab one away. Well, tell us about him. What kind of a player is he? What do you expect, and how far along is he? Because I read a report in Baseball America that scouts that have seen a lot of players think 2 years he's a big leaguer.
Well, I mean, defensively, he's going to be ready very quickly. I mean, he could really play in the major leagues, you know, inside of the next year. Defensively, I think you just have to give some time to a guy and see how he handles the day-to-day with a wooden bat.
Well, give us a little scouting report, Joe, on the offensive end of it. He's a big guy, strong, powerful. The Orioles need that sort of thing. And a switch hitter, is he going to be good in that respect? Is he a guy we can use in the middle of the lineup if it works out?
I think he's going to end up being a guy that's going to be a middle of the lineup, you know, somewhere 3 to 5, 3 to 6. But he's a hitter first, you know, and that's what he tries to be. And that's what I like about him. He's not a guy that's thinking about putting the ball in the seats with every swing. He's a hitter first, but he's going to have power.
At 230 pounds, I'd have to say he's got to have pretty good power.
He's going to have good power, yes, absolutely.
I just, I don't want to forget, Geronimo Gil was a big guy like that too, but Geronimo never tried to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and I think that hurt him in his career with the Orioles here, as he just couldn't hit enough home runs. This kid seems to be a lot more accomplished, even though he's an amateur.
No, I think, you know, again, we all love our drafts today, you know, but this kid has a special package of ability.
An infield hit off the bat of Garrett Atkins, so a 2-out single. Joe Jordan visiting with us. And you know, when you see a switch hitting catcher coming out of Georgia Tech, of course everybody instantly thinks of Jason Varitek as we get a look at this topper towards third. Nothing you can do about that. That's a swinging bunt and a 2-out base runner. But you mentioned the adjustment to wooden bats. How long does it take a hitter who in this day and age has hit with an aluminum bat all the way down to T-ball?
Well, Matt swung a wooden bat a lot, you know, although in college they do play their season with an aluminum bat. He's played in the summer in the Cape Cod League, you know, and they swing wood all summer, and a lot of the practices, even as their seasons go along in the spring, they swing wood, and he's got a lot of experience swinging a wooden bat. It'll be a quick adjustment.
Brad Hopp will bat now with Atkins in first and 2 down. Joe Jordan visiting with us.
Joe, have you had an opportunity to talk to him yet on the phone?
Yes, I did. I talked to him yesterday right after we took him. He and I had a conversation, about a 30-minute conversation in late May, actually. Kind of me doing my due diligence, and so I'm thrilled. He's really a solid guy.
I know you guys spend a lot of time too trying to figure out whether the draft that you're going to make is a guy who's going to want to sign with the Orioles. You anticipate any problems in that area of being able to get him under contract?
No, we're going to get him signed. You know, I think that in today's age, you know, he was such a high pick. and a profile guy. I mean, we've got, we'll have to go through the process. I mean, there'll be a negotiation for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
No,
and
he's going to be one of us.
His agent's not an easy guy to deal with either. He's got a lot of big name players and commands a lot of respect.
Who's his agent?
Scott Boros.
Well, the 5th overall pick in the draft. Maybe some other clubs passed on it because of that, but that certainly helped the Orioles out because, as we mentioned, this was the guy that Joe targeted all along. There's a swing and a miss at a good forkball there. Brad Hopp is batting. Now, once you get him signed, and hopefully that'll be sooner than later, because he's a very accomplished college player, where might he start out in the minor league system? Because usually drafted players go to Aberdeen, but he may already be too good for that league.
Well, I think he's more than ready for levels above that. Again, it'll depend on when he signs. How long it's been since he's played in the game.
Double-A maybe, Joe?
He could probably handle
probably
that.
At Bowie.
Yeah. If we got him signed where he didn't have a whole lot of downtime, he could handle that.
How quickly can negotiations start? Can you start tomorrow? I mean, what is the process with that?
Oh, sure. I mean, it won't get. I don't think we'll get really into it. Sometime this week possibly, but it's not going to happen anytime really soon. I think we all know that.
Are you going to take an opportunity to bring him here to Baltimore and show him off a little bit in front of the fans? Are we going to get that opportunity to see him?
I'm sure that we will. We really haven't talked about when, but certainly. I mean, I think it's something to be good for him. I think he'd be excited to do it, and I know we'd love to have him up here as soon as possible.
6'5"?
He's 6'5".
6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", he can move his feet and he can throw.
All
like
I have to say is, really, all I have to say is I'm glad he wasn't drafted while I was here.
Well, Rick will give him advice, and you won't even have to ask Rick twice.
Well, he could probably benefit from some of that. That's good.
I would think so. Thank you, Joe.
Give me my money.
It's exciting to get a player that, when you read about him by publications that simply cover the draft that don't have a rooting interest per se, rave about a guy and the abilities. That's the nice thing about that. Obviously, there are a lot of teams that have different needs, and teams a lot of times draft because you can't have too much pitching. But when you have a player, and I mean, Oriole fans know catching that position in the minor leagues, it's a trouble spot for the Orioles. And to get a guy that you targeted that can play, and on top of it, he's a switch hitter, that's just outstanding.
It really is. I mean, we just feel fortunate. It happened, and that's what we wanted to happen. And so we'll get him signed and we'll get him out playing.
I like the idea of having 2 more switch hitters in our lineup, especially one with power in the middle. I like that idea.
Could be a really good fit.
I'm hoping for him.
Really
yes.
good fit.
Talk a little bit about some of the other drafts that you're excited about.
Well, we didn't have second and third round picks this year, and so we really didn't have any idea how this was going to set up. But we got a guy in the 4th round, a pitcher. Interesting story. He actually signed a contract with San Diego last year, and because of a knee problem, he flunked his physical. And so he ended up.
Who was that, Bascom?
Yes, he ended up being back in this draft. And he's fully healthy. I mean, there was never anything wrong with his arm. And I saw Tim about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And, 92, 93 miles an hour with command of his fastball.
Can you hang around? We want to talk about the local products who got drafted. Brad Hopp strikes out. Good job by Traxel. 2 out in, a man left. Bottom of the 4th coming up with the Birds on top.
You're going to get a good kid, and if he hits a little bit, they'll get a great player. So I'm just plugging for him, and it's up to him now. He's got to go out and do it, and I think he's up to it.
Well, the skipper, Sam Perlazzo, we're visiting with Joe Jordan, who's the Orioles director of scouting, completing the amateur draft. And one of the players, one of the prospects, one of the major league hopefuls is the manager's son.
That's right.
Eric Perlazzo, an infielder who played at Shippensburg, was drafted in the 35th round today, and there it is, the 1,055 players selected in the draft. Of course, that takes into account every major league team. But tell us about the scouting report on the manager. Now, did you get your own report, or did you go to the manager? Or in this case, Dad?
No, he didn't try to influence me. But, Eric has really improved over the last year. Obviously, our staff is very familiar with him. And very good defensive player who can run. And I think Sam hit it on the head. As much as he hits, that'll determine what kind of player he's going to be.
Well, you also drafted some other local products. Dean Albany was nice enough to give us the list. And you got another McDonough High School right-handed pitcher. Is he the next Brandon Irby?
He's a great-looking kid. You know, he's a kid we're going to follow this summer. And
Joe Yermel?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe Yermel. And he actually threw for us out here on the field the other day, and I liked everything that I saw. You know, we're gonna kind of watch his progress over the next 4 to 6 weeks, and hopefully we can, get him into the organization.
Grounded towards first. Helton wide of the bag will flip to Francis, and all of a sudden Francis has retired 9 in a row.
Joe, I had my first opportunity to walk in and watch the draft and how you guys all go through it up there, and it's quite something spectacular to see the emotion when we got the player. It almost brought tears to my eyes because everybody was so happy that we got this kid Weeder, and boy, the work. Talk a little bit about the work and the people involved in all that goes on. I couldn't believe there had to be 30 people in that room.
It's as much a team effort, gosh, as you can even describe. I mean, we put a lot of work. We love what we do, like most people do that are in this game, and to see it all come together and and get the player that we wanted.
Well, Melvin Mora watched Tavares get a bunt single his way. Payback for Melvin Mora, who gets a bunt single with 2 men down.
That's the play I was looking for Melvin Mora, even with 2 outs when that third baseman was playing almost back in left field, that Melvin could do exactly what he did right here. Look how nice and soft. All good bunters, they look the same, and what a great bunt that was, catching that guy playing back. He's moving on his way to first base, right out of the batter's box. Not much of a chance to throw him out.
Yeah, and here was Melvin on defense against Tavares. Similar bunt, similar play, similar result.
When you miss it, it usually isn't a good thing.
And Clint Hurdle is out talking with home plate umpire Greg Gibson about what? I have no idea.
Probably questioning the fact of whether Melvin Moore was out of the batter's box when he bunted that ball. That was a thought that came to me because I didn't get a chance to see his back foot. But if he bunted it out of both feet out of the batter's box, he's automatically out.
2 down with a runner on for Gibbons. So the short season clubs start, what, in a couple of weeks?
About 10 days.
10 days. So you have a lot of work to do with getting guys signed. That is foul, ripped by Gibbons down the line, as you have to bring some rosters together. But it is exciting because, we mentioned Brandon Irby, and now he's well on his way. He's at Frederick now. He had a couple of rough starts, and I'm intrigued by the pitch counts. If he throws 30 pitches in an inning, he's out of the game. But He had a bounce-back start in his last start at 11 strikeouts, went 8 innings. And when you see a young man like that who's still only 19, he's already in his 3rd season, it makes the names that we're reading today, they're unknown today, but before you know it, they might be talked about in the same light as a Brandon Irby.
I hope so.
Remember last year, Pedro Beato came here. He was drafted. He was the most self-confident kid I think I've ever met. And now he's at Delmarva. He's doing very well. You got to think you're good to be good.
You better believe it.
And there's nobody who studies it more than this guy, Jim Hunter, right here. He is into those minor league reports every day to see how well everybody's doing. But, I've got to compliment you on a lot of things because it's been a while since I've seen an organization that's been pitching rich. And we had it a long time ago in this organization. All of a sudden, we are starting to lean. We're getting back to that. A bunch of good minor league pitchers, and talk a little bit about some of those guys.
Well, I mean, we do. We've been fortunate. Our scouts have done, a great job getting us on the right guys, and Doc Watson, our pitching coordinator in the minor leagues, is as good as anybody. We've got total faith in him. We just try to find, strong guys whose arms work that are going to, get stronger and progress, and he does a great job with them. I mean,
we got some good left-handers down there. I always like left-handers.
Yeah, well, we do. We don't have enough. We're always looking for more. But we do. I mean, it's been a productive couple, 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
This week's O's Access on Masson airs 6 o'clock Saturday. Will feature the draft as Gibbons pops it up, and Francis is calling. This is trouble. The catcher calls him off. Helton there, and it's Helton who makes the catch to end the inning. Well, Joe, we appreciate the visit. Congratulations on a successful draft, and hopefully you get a couple hours sleep now.
Oh, I will. No, it's good. It's over now.
2-0 Birds at the ballpark. Hey, fans, if you'd like to meet pitcher Brian Burris, he'll be out at the Chick-fil-A at Columbia Mall tomorrow from 11 a.m. to noon. He'll sign autographs, interact with the fans. So come on out and say hello to one of the season's brightest young stars. That's tomorrow, 11 to noon at the Chick-fil-A at the Columbia Mall. And you see tonight, Brian is in the bullpen. He was sitting there with Todd Williams as the Bird, hamming it up for the camera. Gee, there's a surprise. Oriole Bird found the camera. There's Brian with Todd Williams. He is in the bullpen for this series. Rudy Arias coming by to say welcome back to the bullpen, because with the day off, his start will be skipped. And what that does is it gives Sam Perlazzo and Leo Mazzoni an 8-man bullpen for this interleague series. He will not be needed as a starter until next weekend when Arizona's in. So you take advantage of it. He goes out there in the bullpen, and if he gets in a game, fine. If not, no problem.
Gets an opportunity to watch, pick up some pointers here and there. He can use them.
And there's the chart. The relief pitchers, when they last worked, how much they worked. A lot of thought goes into that. Are the arms fatigued? There was a time Rick Dempsey would make up those charts.
Oh, yeah.
With very good penmanship.
I didn't have to worry about the penmanship. The computer, I had the little printer. I did all my stuff and printed it on out. I didn't have to worry about me scribbling on a piece of paper.
Traxel has struck out 3. He has not walked a batter, and he's allowed only 3 hits, 2 infield hits.
You had to say that, didn't you?
What?
Not walk the batter.
Troy Tulowitzki, a rookie, was 22 years old. Skied to right field. Markakis broke back. Now he's ready. And he makes the catch. Both Tulowitzki and Traxel products of Long Beach State. Well, join us again tomorrow. The Orioles and Rockies play game 2 of the 3-game set. Jeremy Guthrie will take the mound. He'll go against ex-Oriole Rodrigo Lopez, who is sporting a beard. Our coverage begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Chrysler Jeep Dodge. Tom Davis and Dave Johnson will have all the coverage on the pregame, followed by the game coverage at 7. We've got all the access you need right here on Maxim. And tomorrow night, the pregame show will be live from center field from the picnic area, so Tom and Dave will be here at the ballpark with us.
That'll be fun. We'll send him out a couple of hot dogs, maybe some meatloaf, you know.
There's a strike, and it's 0-2 on Spillboards.
Tom Davis would probably be looking forward to about 3 hot dogs and a couple of slices of meatloaf, too, you know. He's a very hungry guy. Very hungry guy. Don't smile, Tom. I know you're listening.
1-2 the count on Spillboards. Orioles scored 2 in the first and have not been able to add as Francis has settled down, and there's a strike 3 call. Spillboard's down on strikes. He's 0 for 2. Fans like it. 4th strikeout for Steve Traxel.
Boy, you get another look at a very good off-speed pitch again here, and Trax has been living on that outside corner all night. He's been right there in that zone. Here you see it again, right on the black. Perfect strike 3. No chance of hitting that pitch.
Very pitch efficient. Here's Steve Traxel. 2 outs, none on. Here's Yorvit Torrealba, the Colorado catcher. Ball 1. Torrealba now with his 3rd major league team. Out of Venezuela, came up with the San Francisco Giants. Brief time in Seattle. And now he's with Colorado. 2-0.
They really like him in Colorado. He's a very good catch and throw guy. He's very accurate, not the most strong arm in the National League, but a guy who puts the ball around the bag all the time.
Call back 2-1. Steve Traxel trying to win his 5th on the year. Four strikeouts, a season high. He has, with the 4, only 22 strikeouts on the year. He does not care about strikeouts at all. He'd rather they put the ball in play, and he refuses to give in the hitters. Outside, ball 3.
You know, Jimmy, you talk about things that just happen to happen in a right time in the right place. You talk about Traxel coming to the Orioles and doing the job that he's done so far. Chris Benson getting hurt you know, and making that decision to take the operation late, and the Orioles having a chance to pick this guy up.
Payton all the way back, makes a leap, and he can't get it. It's gone. That's a home run. Torrealba hitting it out to center field. Payton, a tremendous effort. And Torrealba gets Colorado on the board. It's a 2-1 game. His second home run on the year in the Coors Light cold hard blast, and it gets Colorado on the board.
Boy, I'd never thought this ball was going to go out of the ballpark, but he really gets pretty good wood on a fastball that just caught a little bit too much of the plate. You can see there. He hit it to center field. I don't think he even realized, too, that it was on. Jay Payton makes a real good jump at this. Oh, that close to coming to catching that ball. What a great effort.
Well, the home run gets Colorado on the board. It's a 2-1 game. And Willie Taveras now bats with 2 down, and he takes ball 1. That is the 7th home run allowed by Traxel, and this is 13th start. Taveras bunt single his last at bat, and that's going to fall in front of Payton right off the end of the bat. And a 2-out base hit for Taveras. He's 2 out of 3. So now the tying run is on with 2 down, and a stolen base threat in Willie Taveras.
You know, when you look at it, Jimmy, you know that Traxel is going to give up some hits in certain parts of the ballgame. He's not going to go through the ballgame without giving up a run or 2. But the thing that you got notice about him is that when he does give up a home run or a big base hit, it's usually he keeps the amount of damage down by not putting a lot of guys on base in front of that. He'll give up his 2 runs, his 3 runs in his outing, but not often has he given up more than 3 runs in any of his outings.
Pitcher who has learned how to minimize damage within innings. He certainly knows about game management and inning management. And here is Kaz Matsui batting with the runner Taveras at first, to his chase back, and 2 down. Taveras stole a base in the 3rd inning, his 14th on the year. Matsui is a switch hitter up there from the left side with Steve Traxel on the mound. There have now been 38 stolen bases against the Orioles. Oriole catchers have been able to catch 13 potential base stealers. Fastball misses low, 1-0. Now, Rick, you're mentioning the numbers in the base runners, and it's kind of interesting looking at Traxel's season with the Orioles, because he came to the Orioles as a reputation that he gives up a lot of base hits, men on base all over the place. And you look at his season, and he's actually averaging less than 8 base hits for every 9 innings he works.
You know, he's been better than the Orioles really expected him to be. And he's got himself in a nice little groove. He's working American League hitters very good, very well, and he just changes speed so well. And this is the kind of guy that carries this ball club a long way, because he's not afraid to throw the breaking ball over the plate when he's behind in the count. And for me, that's a true experienced major league pitcher who can do that under pressure, and that's just his game. It's not that it's under pressure at all. You know, a guy like Danny Cabrera, you know, he's limited late like that in certain games to be able to throw the breaking ball over in tough situations. He did it early in the year, but as of late, Danny hasn't been doing that. But this guy, this is part of his game. This is part of Traxel's game, is throwing the breaking ball over when hitters think the fastball is definitely coming.
Taveras chased back again. You saw Paul Bacco go out and have a brief chat with Traxel. Millar holding the bag on Willie Taveras. 2-1 game now off the Torrealba home run. Taveras runs. Pitch taken. Throw sails into center field. And Taveras is going to head towards 3rd.
Boy, really not much of a chance at all to get this guy. He just gets too good a jump. As you're going to see right here, he's off and running right here. Bacco might as well just put that, Paulie, put it in your back pocket. He's got too big a jump. Just hold it right there. Don't try to make it throw, because if you make a wild throw, he's going to go to 3rd base. That's exactly what happened. Miguel Tejada, no chance to catch that ball whatsoever.
Tying run now at 3rd base, 90 feet away. There is Ramon Hernandez now on the disabled list, talking with Alberto Castillo, who is back to replace Ramon. Second error on the year for Baco on the throw. And it's high. And that'll be ball 4. So Matsui will draw the walk, first of the game for Traxel, and Colorado now is 2 on with 2 down.
You see, you jinxed him, Jimmy. You said he didn't have any walks, and all of a sudden that first inning he walks a guy. I'm just going to have to, you're going to talk to me about television, I'm just going to have to talk to you about baseball. There's some things that jinx. You'll be the guy to come in and say, oh, you know what? You're throwing a no-hitter in the 6th. No, you wouldn't do that. I'm not.
Yes, I would.
No, you would.
The day I have any effect up here over what goes on the field,
you're right.
It'll be the first time in the history of the game that ever happened.
I'm very superstitious. You got to remember that.
Here is Matt Holliday. Matsui goes. Baco throws through, and the ball bounces, and safe is Matsui. And Taveras held tight at third. Well, a better throw. He might have been able to get him, but it bounced.
Well, this is the toughest situation for a catcher. You got a guy on third base. A matter of fact, you have to look at him first. You'll see him right there. He checks third base, tries to make as good a throw as he can. They almost pulled it off with a bad throw. See Paulie right there. He looked at third base. That holds the runner. He makes a pretty good throw, but Brian Roberts, it's in the dirt, has to just knock it down and keep it from going into center. That's the most important part of that play, is don't let that ball get by you.
So 2 down, and Traxel really has his work cut out now as that ball's fouled back. Here's the leading hitter in the National League at the plate, Matt Holliday, who leads Colorado with 46 RBIs.
Tough situation right here to have to pitch to Holliday in this situation. First base is open, but the guy coming up behind him, Todd Helton, has always been one of the toughest hitters in the National League, and he's a left-hander to face Traxel.
A ball and a strike on Matt Holliday, with Taveras at third and Matsui at second. Too tight with a fastball, 2-1.
Really, though, Jimmy, there's a lot of things to be factored in here. If you're Paul Baco behind home plate, you don't want to give this guy a fastball in a fastball situation, because you know he's a good hitter and a tough hitter. You've got Steve Traxel on the mound. You got a left-hander up there, and Steve Traxel pitches better against left-handers than he does right-handers. You know he's going to use his split finger. So in this situation, you might not want to intentionally walk him, but you have to unintentionally pitch around him.
Left center field. Payton has a play. Calls off the left fielder Gibbons, and he puts it away for the out. Outstanding job for Traxel. He gets out of it. It's a 2-1 Orioles lead.